Hi guys, welcome again back to another episode. And today I have with me Anthony Howard Crow, otherwise known as Abs and Ice Cream on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube as well. And Anthony has a unique story. I found him originally on Alan Aragon's research review back in 2017. I've been a subscriber for a number of years, and this was quite unique because Alan Aragon was documenting, or I suppose he was looking at your documentation of your 100 days of ice cream, whey protein, and alcohol. Is that correct?
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah. So really, what you're doing in that period is what you're just eating those three foods solely, but you were tracking your calories, in an effort to basically improve your body composition. I won't take over this, but I'll let you introduce why you actually did that. So what drove you to do that in the first place? You want to give a bit of background first into yourself and your philosophies and training and how you got into training and nutrition, and then why you started to do this kind of, I suppose, really obscure way of dieting that people would absolutely go batshit crazy over if they thought that you're doing that, thought that you would like implode or die if you eat that kind of food.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So I actually got into fitness. It's been about quite a while now. Back in, I say my sophomore year of high school is when I really got into it. So I graduated in 2003. So it's been a while, but I grew up pretty overweight actually. From probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 on, I wouldn't say severely obese, but I mean, to give an example, my freshman year of high school, I was 215 pounds, couldn't bench 50 pounds my life depending on it, just, not athletic at all. I played football and everything, so, and wrestled. So actually, it's kind of funny. I had no idea growing up that I was overweight. I just thought I was jacked, like literally. And I remember the very moment that I realized that I was overweight and that I needed to make a change. I'll remember the rest of my life. I was in PE playing basketball with a couple of my friends, and they're like, pass Fatty the ball, pass Fatty the ball. And I was looking at it like, who are you talking about? And they're like, you. I'm like, what do you mean? Locker room. I literally had no idea. I literally just thought I was, I always wondered why like I wasn't as strong as other people in the weight room, but I was like, oh, it's weird genetics. I went in the locker room and took my shirt off, and I just like, blinders shaking. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I am overweight. And so I started really getting into nutrition and fitness. From then on, like I said, I played football, I wrestled, so I was into working out, but just had never paid any attention to diet at all. And so slowly started learning, and it's hard. It's a lot easier now, but it's still, in a way, it's harder as well, just because there's so much stuff online, you don't really know who to listen to. But I started off pretty much how most people do, with the whole bro science thing, and thought carbs were bad, thought, eating past 6, all the generic stuff like I did for years. And I lost a lot of weight. Like I said, I was 215 pounds when I graduated high school. I was 150. So I lost a lot of weight. Got really lean, but I still struggled. And it was always tough because I get really lean, and then I sort of fall off the diet a little bit. I'd be like, I can't not eat these XYZ foods forever. So it was always an up and down thing for me. And it was miserable. So once I found out about flexible dieting, which was years later, it was life changing. And I found out about it because I ran a blog on bodybuilding.com, which is actually how I connected with Alan originally, where I would just document all my fitness stuff, document cuts, document bulks, and a lot of it was pretty big at the time. And I usually did keto. I was really big into keto, loved it. But, I'd always get really lean, but then, gain the weight back again because I couldn't sustain it forever. And some of my followers started recommending that I try IIFYM, which, that came about because of bodybuilding.com. So, and I thought it was dumb. I was doing carb cycling at the time, and I was like, no, this is so stupid. I was like, it's not going to work. And I remember the turning point was I got into a really big argument in the advanced nutrition section with people. So I was like, you're telling me that if I only Oreos and protein, that I can have the exact same result as what I'm doing now? And they're like, it wouldn't be healthy, but like, yeah. And then Alan came in the thread, and I knew about him, and was on their side. And I was like, oh. He's like, all right, maybe I should look into this a little bit. So I started doing it, and within like a week, I was hooked. I loved it. And the whole abs and ice cream thing came about because of that, because I actually have a degree in film production, which I just started actually utilizing lately. If you look at, my videos, they were never really about the production quality. It's all just about the message. But some of my followers were like, you should start a YouTube channel and sort of document this. And I was like, oh, maybe. And they actually came up with the idea for my original ice cream thing back in 2011, which was just, I said I was going to do 30 days where half my calories were ice cream. And I was already extremely lean at the time. So it definitely worked, but it didn't show the results, quite as well. And so then fast forward, I was always back and forth with YouTube. I joined the Army and stopped doing it for a while. And I did another thing where I sort of replicated Supersize Me, where I did 30 days of fast food, lost about 18 pounds there. But again, was really lean when I started that. So when I got out of the Army, I decided I want to do another one, but that'd be more extreme than any of the others. And I had actually torn my pec for the second time about a year prior. So I had pretty much lost much more muscle than I thought I was. I ended the Abs and Ice Cream Blast project nowhere near what I thought I would be, because I was about 7% body fat when I tore my chest. And I was the same weight a year later, but I gained a ton of fat. And so I was like, all right, this is the perfect time to do another project. So I spent a while trying to think. I was like, I got to do something way more extreme than I had. And then I was like, I'll do just ice cream for 30 days. And I was like, well, 30 days. I was like, maybe I'll do 100 days because it sounds way cooler. So I decided I was going to do 100 days, just ice cream and the whey protein. I didn't want to be severely deficient on protein. Like you said, you still want to get your protein and your micronutrients. Really important. And I was definitely deficient on micros during this, but it's just a 100-day extreme demonstration. Not something I recommend anybody do. And if anyone wants to try it, good luck. There's no way I would have kept up with it if so many people hadn't been watching it, because it was miserable. And then the alcohol, I didn't drink. It's not like I drink a lot. I just didn't want to not be able to have a drink in the morning. So I probably drank 3 times the entire time. But before I started it, I talked to Alan about it, and I was like, hey, is this something you're interested in? I asked him if he had any advice. He thought, thought it would be safe and everything. And so he was all about it and started to promote it just because I told him about it. And so that definitely helped get a lot of traction, helped get the 2 Minutes Health articles and everything just from the blue. And but the reason I'm so passionate about this is just because I know what it's like to struggle with thinking you either have to pick being in shape, being healthy, and cutting out a whole bunch of categories of food that you love, or just being overweight. Like it's miserable. It's a back and forth. So once I found out that it's a balance, you just have to track your calories. Obviously be mindful. Don't just eat junk food. A lot of people sort of get the wrong impression with my projects, which sucks, but that's not what, what I'm all about. It's just an extreme example to show you, because if I were just like, all right, watch me eat 1 Snickers bar a day for a month, but okay.
The funny thing is, you mentioned
that's the whole thing. Just because I want people to know about.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. The way that you said you found out about flexible dieting, or IIFYM, if it fits your macros, basically just, being flexible, is the exact same way that I found out about it. Like, I've been into like health and fitness and bodybuilding for like, I'd say at least 10 years. And before Facebook and Instagram and stuff, I used to spend my time on the forums as well. And I came across a guy called Timberwolf, Kane Sumbat.
Yeah.
And I remember reading a thread of his where he was like going to eat fried chicken and going to eat like potato chips and smoke a lot of weed because that's what he loved to do. And then he was going to offset that by doing more cardio, by basically doing the same amount of calories as he ate through the junk food. And he was like losing weight. And I was like, I remember that specific moment when I'm reading this thread, and it was like a long thread. It wasn't a new one. So I was going through it, and I went to the cupboard, the pantry, and got like a packet of like crisps or potato chips, as you call them. And I was eating them. I was like, oh my God, my mind is blown. Because before that, I was like really good, quote unquote, in terms of eating well. Like I really love bodybuilding, and I was eating clean all the time. But I would have binges like every second weekend. I would have like a binge, and like I was living at home. My parents at the time, I was a teenager, and I would binge on like 2,000 calories of junk and top my food 3,000 calories. And they just kind of like, oh yeah, he does that every now and again, as if it's like normal. But I was feeling so shit about myself, not because I ate too much food and physically felt sick, but just because I was like, I'm after fucking up a whole week's worth of work, and now I feel so bad about myself. I'm going to have to do extra cardio. I'm going to have to get back on it. I'm not going to have to lower my calories for the next few days. And then inevitably the whole thing would happen again. And I'm like, fuck. And, you know, it felt so restricted that I was just, you know, I was like, oh, I can't do certain things. I live in Ireland, so people like to drink alcohol over here. And I wouldn't drink because I was like, I can't drink anything at all because, you know, it's going to fuck up my diet and everything. And of course, if you're getting wasted all of the time, that's a different story. But I never drank anything. I remember there was like a period of like 6 months where I hadn't eaten a biscuit or cookie. And I was like, this is the best I've ever done, like 6 months. And I just didn't really understand it because I was just following, you know, the magazines, the Flex magazines, the muscular development. And I was just looking at like bodybuilders and they just eat like chicken and potatoes. They never eat junk food or anything like that. So, so I had that same epiphany moment where I was like, holy crap. And then that's where I started to learn about more in the flexible dieting side, started to read a lot more into it. And then when I came across yours, when I came across your the documentation or the project that you were doing, 100 Days of Ice Cream, I was like, oh, that's crazy, because you're literally taking, like, rubbing it in people's faces of what, you know, what they don't think they can't do. Like, you took it to the extreme. If somebody said like, oh, look at his diet, your diet is like, oh, that's like a diet of like what you'd ask a 6-year-old what would they like to eat, you know, that's what they'd eat, ice cream. And I was doing a presentation in a company like about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, just about nutrition. It was some like law firm or something like that. And I actually used your picture, your before and after, as an example to explain them. I was like, this is like, stop worrying about insulin levels and like whether you should eat brown bread or white bread. This guy, I was like, can anybody guess what he ate for 100 days? And like, nobody got it. They were like, protein shakes, like chicken. And I was like, no, just like ice cream and white protein. So like, just to show people. So even now, like, even though we're doing this interview and you actually drop some body fat, your body composition improved essentially because you start lifting again during that period. But the biggest thing for me is, and what most people won't believe, is that, they probably say, oh, well, you know, yeah, his body composition improved, but his health markers probably got worse. You know, he probably was really unhealthy during that period. But the funny thing is that what your results show is that when you have excess body fat and you lose body fat, regardless of how you lose that body fat, your health markers are going to improve. So what actually health markers did you I suppose track during it? You tracked was it insulin or blood pressure, or what was it? I can't remember exactly what ones you tracked.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So it was, I know it was, it was all this. I just got a normal. It was actually just by chance that I had my blood work done right before I started this, because like I just had that done right before. I hadn't thought about it, and then when it was over, I was like, well, I got to get this done. So just sort of a normal health balance. So obviously, you know, cholesterol, all that stuff. I'd have to bring it up.
Yeah, I think it was your cholesterol. Exactly. I think it was your cholesterol, your blood, your LDL cholesterol, your blood glucose levels, and then your blood pressure as well. And all those markers that improved. I think you said that you would have liked to track more, but those are the 3 that you tracked. And they all improved simply due to the fact that your body weight, actually, you drop body fat essentially. So like, it's not because of the food that you ate, but simply because you actually had excess body fat. So that's the thing about it. It's not really like how the certain types of food that you eat, but just simply, if you're overweight and you're in poor health, just lose body fat first, and then worry about, you know, improving your diet and improving the different things, like different composition of that diet when you get leaner. But how was it to experience it? Like, I know that when I was reading your logs and you're watching your videos, people can often then look at this as black and white, and they can say, oh, well, then I'll just eat anything or everything that I want once I just hit my macros. But how did you find the experience overall? Because obviously your fiber was extremely low. How was your energy and your motivation and your will to train and will to live over that 100-day period? Was it all, like I'm sure it was good for the first day when you're just eating ice cream, but like, what was it like on like day 90?
Oh, it was horrible. It was by far like the worst thing I've ever done. Like, I think like halfway through, I stopped going to the gym. Like, I had no energy. That's why I was very surprised that my health markers got so much better at the end, because I felt terrible. So yeah, I had basically no energy. Like, and you can tell like what the videos I'm sure, like they started to make it more interesting. Near the end, it was just, I'd sit there and eat the ice cream, like, all right, see ya. Like, it was bad. I was grumpy. I felt terrible. So it was definitely no better than like eating keto diet or any other, throw science diet that I've ever done. At first it was fun. That's why I say, to a lot of people are just like, I want to tell my clients about this, but like, I'm scared that they're do it. I'm like, good luck. I was like, they'll get 3 days in at the most. I was like, it sounds awesome just eating ice cream, but like, it's not. Like, one thing I didn't think of, like, I really didn't get to like chew for 100 days. You sort of chew ice cream, but not really. So it was just strange and very unsatisfying. So I definitely didn't feel good. I didn't feel like there was anything wrong with me. I was never like worried health wise. It's just, I just felt like crap, just low energy, kind of how you feel on really any restricted diet. And part of that was obviously, deep in the any diet, generally, unless you're just going extremely slow, you're going to start to feel kind of crappy, you start to feel a little lethargic, stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely was not a fun experience by any means.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot to take away from it. One being that, like, eating whatever you want, like if you ask somebody to design the diet of all their kind of favorite foods, isn't necessarily desirable long term, because you probably had some deficiencies in terms of, just overall micronutrients and phytonutrients, probably deficient in vitamins and minerals, and you just couldn't produce energy, and so your will to live probably just started to reduce. But also that, deficiencies in micronutrients and vitamins and stuff are probably not as correlated to actual health markers as maybe your overall body fat. So like, if you're just overweight, just dropping your body fat will actually get you healthier. Like, it might not make you feel better if you're extremely deficient in certain vitamins and minerals, but I mean, it just goes to show that your health marks improved, and you still were obviously quite deficient, and they still improved. So they're obviously not as interrelated as we probably think. And then finally, to show that, you still can actually, when you go so extreme, which you said you don't actually advise because you just feel like crap and it's hard to do. But when you go so extreme, you can actually still get the results. So if you take, even 20% of, being more flexible, having the foods that you like to eat, eating ice cream, whey protein or whatever it is, and then following, a good diet for the most part, eating nutritious foods, that obviously that will be the much better result than trying to just focus on black or white, where you're like, I eat completely clean, only clean, I don't eat any junk food at all, or else I just eat complete junk food. Because we do see people, or at least I'm seeing as a trend, more of a kind of a YouTube clickbait thing, where people just eat, like, they just fill their diet with just crap all of the time, just for the sake of trying to prove a point or something like that, and that's obviously not not ideal. But what are you doing lately? Like, I know you've been doing more food kind of challenges, and you've tried some other things after that. But what's kind of on the path for you at the moment? Like, how do you eat now? I guess you're not just eating ice cream anymore. You're probably sick of ice cream actually at this stage.
You would think. Shockingly, I had a couple of videos that I showed. I think the most I ever bought at once was like maybe 50 pints or something during the project. So I had quite a few left over right when I finished. I think I finished up the rest of my ice cream like the next week. It'll be a couple minutes, buddy.
No worries, man.
I'll be out in a minute. But no, shockingly, I thought it was going to ruin ice cream for sure, but it actually didn't at all. I still like it just as much. I don't eat it quite as much, just because, I like, full fat ice cream, Ben and Jerry's and stuff, and it's not easy. They can see me.
Gonna come and join us.
Yeah, this is Rames.
Hey, what's up?
Say hi. I'm not able to hear you, but so I do actually eat, a lot of junk food still. I kind of still do have a 6-year-old diet, as you would say, but mostly I eat a lot of cereal, stuff like that. And lately I've been focusing more on actually getting my size back. Like I said, when I ended the project, I think, what did I get down to? Like 156 pounds or something. I still wasn't nearly as lean as I was a year earlier at 190. So I had no idea that I'd lost so much muscle. So I've been working on getting that back. The last month and a half, I actually haven't been training very much, just because actually I work about 100 hours a week, and I just haven't had time to work a little bit more. But back in the gym now, and so basically just working on getting the size back because I hate being that small really, and I'm a lot more comfortable lean around 200 pounds. But yeah, the diet wise, I definitely don't eat like that at all, and that's one thing that unfortunately has gotten, not just with people misinterpreting my projects, but like you said, with a lot of the YouTubers and stuff, gets really clouded. The whole IFYM thing has sort of turned into how much junk food can I fit into my life all the time, which obviously isn't ideal. And but the main thing, like I said, the main reason that I promote this is because most people who are on the other side sort of miss the realistic point that most people aren't going to be able to eat really clean all the time. Like, I don't know if you heard of Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She sort of got really big because I've heard she's been on Joe Rogan a couple of times. I actually talked to her when I was doing the project, and she was not interested at all. Completely dismissed everything. I talked to her before and after. The problem is, like, they'll find all these studies where sugar affects your gut microbiome and stuff like that, and that's all great. Like, it's cool to sort of figure out how to dial in your health and your health markers with certain foods, superfoods, stuff like that. But it's not that I'm saying fruits and vegetables and stuff like that are bad. But the point is, like you said, the main thing that we need to focus on first is losing the weight. So if most people aren't going to be able to just eat clean all the time, they're never going to lose the weight in the first place. So if you lose the weight and get down to healthy weight, you'll be 90% there. And then after that, if you just want to stay there, you'll still be way better. But if you want to start paying attention to that stuff that Joe Rogan and her preach, where you sort of really dial in your health with specific foods, it's fantastic, but it's just not realistic for most of
the I think it's like putting the cart before the horse. I think Lane Norton talks about it all the time. Is some meta-analysis that I've looked at by Now and colleagues, I think it's 2014 or so, where it just shows that, like, it just proves again, but in a research kind of environment, that losing weight is going to give you the majority of the health benefits. And I do like Rhonda Patrick as well. But one of the things, like I said, everybody knows that they should be eating better. But if people think that that's the only way that they can get healthier is by eating, no sugar at all, or eating only fruits and vegetables, or eating on whatever kind of things she promotes for good health and everything. And that's great. And I'm not saying that doesn't work, but if they think that that's the only way that it'll work, like, nobody's going to do it, or very, very few people are going to do it, because people have, normal lives. They've got kids, as you can see, they've got to eat with their families. They've got to be more flexible. They want to actually this to add to their life rather than just being like a constraint on their life. So that's, I guess that's what your thing showed, is that this is, this project that you did is really, really kind of shows that, you can take it to the one extreme and get a huge example. You got a big crowd there. Yeah.
Short attention span for me sometimes.
Anyway,
the other one's still asleep though, so it's not crazy yet.
Yeah. Anyway, dude, I really appreciate you coming on, and thanks for your story. And so I'm gonna leave all your links down below to your channel. I'm gonna, people, if they want to find out more about your work, where can they go?
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my YouTube channel, Abs and Ice Cream. My website, I haven't been doing anything with it lately. I don't think it's up right now. But yeah, my Facebook, Abs and Ice Cream, literally anything Abs and Ice Cream. But yeah, my main thing is my YouTube channel. So look up Abs and Ice Cream.
Yeah, and it's a great story to follow, even though the video is a couple of years old. I think I watched them when they were actually about a year old. But a great story to just follow your journey through, like, you being excited at the start, wanting to eat ice cream all the time, and then towards the end, you're like really kind of hating your life. But yeah. But man, I really appreciate your time. Have a great evening, and I'll chat to you soon, man.